So when a president of the United States says to you, you know, these millionaires don't deserve interest deductions on their mortgage, I want you to understand what this does to the construction industry, to the steel industry, to the wood industry, to plumbers, to electricians, to roofers, all the trades, all the materials that are used in building a home. Those aren't millionaires doing that. It's just so outrageous, the illiteracy, the economic illiteracy of this man. He's so driven by ideology. That's why I say, you union guys out there, and non-union as well, you people who work with your hands, you don't have a friend in the Oval Office. He doesn't comprehend who you are and what you do. You want to get paid. You don't care who the hell house it is because some ideologues out there playing class warfare. Those are your jobs. When the building industry's hurting, a lot of industries are hurting, a lot of tradesmen are hurting. A lot of people who are blue-collar people who work with their hands suffer. Now listen to this from Milton Friedman, I would guess about 30 or so years ago, maybe a little more, on making a pencil. Go.
Look at this lead pencil. There's not a single person in the world who could make this pencil. Remarkable statement? Not at all. The wood from which it's made, for all I know, comes from a tree that was cut down in the state of Washington. To cut down that tree, it took a saw. To make the saw, it took steel. To make the steel, it took iron ore. This black center, we call it lead, but it's really graphite, compressed graphite. I'm not sure where it comes from, but I think it comes from some mines in South America. This red top up here, the eraser, bit of rubber, probably comes from Malaya, where the rubber tree isn't even native. It was imported from South America by some businessmen with the help of the British government. This brass ferrule, I haven't the slightest idea where it came from, or the yellow paint, or the paint that made the black lines, or the glue that holds it together. Literally thousands of people cooperated to make this pencil. People who don't speak the same language, who practice different religions, who might hate one another if they ever met. When you go down to the store and buy this pencil, you are in effect trading a few minutes of your time for a few seconds of the time of all those thousands of people. What brought them together and induced them to cooperate to make this pencil? There was no commissar sending out orders from some central office. It was a magic of the price system, the impersonal operation of prices that brought them together and got them to cooperate to make this pencil so that you could have it for a trifling sum. That is why the operation of the free market is so essential, not only to promote productive efficiency, but even more to foster harmony and peace among the peoples of the world.
And so, even more complicated than a pencil, eliminating the interest deduction for millionaires. And by the way, when Obama speaks of millionaires, he doesn't really mean millionaires. He means $250,000. So if somebody's adjusted gross income, or some family's adjusted gross income, depending on how they file their tax returns, is $251,000, and they take away the interest deduction or some aspect of it, and that won't be enough. So those of you who don't earn that much, they'll get around to you too. A building industry that's already on its back, a housing industry that's already on its back. What's that going to do? Now, who builds homes? Construction workers, plumbers, electricians, people who lay carpet or wood floors or tile, the air conditioning and heating folks, those who paint homes and lay roofs, not to mention those who make toilets Those who make the things that plumbers use, those who make the things that electricians and roofers and tile layers and carpet layers use. The wood in the home, the loggers, the tools that people use, the people who make those tools, and the natural resources that are used to make, that go into those tools. The nails and the screws. The people who make the windows. The people who make the latches on the windows. The people who make the wood or the vinyl around which the windows are made. The people who make the doors. What about all the people who furnish homes and self-furnishing for homes and window treatments and accessories for homes? Do we hate people who make more than us so much that we're willing to destroy industry after industry after industry and the lives of people who are not millionaires? Is that what we've become? Is that who we are? What about the trucker who drives from one end of the country to another, bringing the stone or the brick or the wood or whatever products and material go into the home from one coast to another, from one state to another? What about the people who build the trucks? The people who manufacture the tires? The free market is a marvelous, marvelous, spontaneous model. There's so much that goes on in the free market just to produce a pencil, as Milton Friedman said. It's impossible to know how much there is. And yet if the government intervenes to ban it, or the government intervenes to drive the cost up, if the government intervenes to create market dislocations to make it harder and harder to get a pencil, all the people right down the chain, chains we're not even familiar with, suffer. And for what? Class warfare? Because we have an ideologically incompetent president in the Oval Office who's playing politics with people's lives? If you're a plumber, you don't give a damn if a guy's worth $5 million or $5 as long as you get paid and do the work. If you're a trucker and you're hauling wood from one end of the country to the other, you don't give a damn if it's to build a millionaire's house or not. Maybe it's to build a church, whatever. If you're building tires, you're using rubber, assembling tires. You don't care if it goes on a truck that's delivering wood to build a house for a millionaire. You want your job. You want the paycheck. All the way down the line. My point is, this class warfare stuff is poison. It is destructive of our society. It dismantles our economic system.